Okay, well, welcome. My name is Erica. I'm the registered dietitian here at Maple Clinic. So we're really happy to have you here. Today we are making two recipes. We're going to be making a chicken lettuce wrap and also a rainbow veggie noodle salad. They're both kind of Asian inspired recipes. And one we're going to make in the Instant Pot. Do any of you have an Instant Pot? Okay. Do any of you have a crock pot? Good news, okay? This can also be made in the crock pot. The reason why I'm making it in the Instant Pot today is because it's fast. I don't know if you guys have heard of an Instant Pot, but it's basically a pressure cooker. So it can cook things in 5 minutes instead of 6 hours, okay? So it's kind of handy. So we're gonna get started with that recipe. However, I am gonna start my noodles right now in some boiling water. Okay, this is for our Asian noodle salad. I'm gonna be using some whole grain spaghetti noodles. And these need 10 minutes in, so I'm just gonna get those started right now. True or false, you should salt your pasta water?
True.
True, okay. True or false, you should add a little bit of olive oil so the noodles don't stick?
True.
False. False, 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 false. Okay, so that's actually a myth. It doesn't help, okay? A lot of people will tell you it does, but it doesn't. I'm gonna go ahead and break these in half. I'm actually not gonna use all of the noodles. The recipe calls for 8 ounces. This is 16 ounces, so I'm using about half of them. Okay, we want our salad to be mostly vegetables, just a little bit of noodles, okay? So I'm gonna let that go for 10 minutes. I'm gonna just set my little alarm here for 10 minutes so that we know. Perfect. Okay, what I've got going on in the Instant Pot right now is I just have some chicken breasts that I already cubed up. I already got it in there, okay? So that's all I have in there right now. Basically, I have my Instant Pot on the saute setting. In case any of you, if you do get an Instant Pot, having your stuff on saute setting can help your dish come to temperature faster, okay, than if you just throw everything in raw and cold. So I'm just having it on saute right now, and basically I'm gonna just throw in all of my sauce ingredients, and then the chicken is gonna cook super fast. In 5 minutes, we're gonna cook the chicken. So 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I like to use low sodium soy sauce just because we get enough sodium in our diets as is, okay? About 1/4 cup of that. Now, this recipe actually calls for a teaspoon of dark soy sauce, which you could find in Asian markets, a kind of a specialty thing. I'm just not putting it in just because I want to keep things simple. Okay, we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of honey. Okay, just to sweeten it up a little bit. I gotta open it, yeah, it's brand new. Okay. One thing that I like to do sometimes is spray my tablespoon with a little bit of nonstick spray so that the honey comes out really easily, because you know it can be really super sticky. Oh, you can already smell that soy sauce. It smells good. Okay, we got 2 tablespoons of that, and then we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and the mixture of both of these adds just the right amount of sweetness. And this is a pretty big recipe, so even though it does have a little bit of sugar, it's still going to be pretty low, okay? And it's going to give you that signature flavor of General Tso's. 2 tablespoons of packed brown sugar. We're also going to add 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. This is what rice vinegar looks like. You can find it in any grocery store in the vinegar section.
So is vinegar made out of rice then?
Yep, it's basically fermented rice. Yep. But you know, it's not like it has like any more carbs or anything than say apple cider vinegar or any other type of balsamic vinegar. Well, balsamic vinegar actually probably has a little bit more because it's higher in sugar. So 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. That's gonna add, you know, with Asian cooking, you want all of those different balance of flavors. You want salty, soy sauce, acidic, rice vinegar, sweet, honey, garlicky, ginger for flavor. You want that balance of all 4 of those things going on in all recipes, but particularly Asian recipes. And then we're also going to put in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now, you guys, this is how I love buying my tomato paste, because you know where tomato paste usually comes in those cans, but a lot of recipes call for what? like 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, and then you have the can sitting in your fridge for 3 months, and then you find mold on it and it's disgusting and you waste the whole can of tomato paste. Okay, so this way you can just use what you need and keep it still in the resealable tube in your fridge and it doesn't go bad. I got this at Trader Joe's for those of you who are wondering. Also going to add some garlic and some ginger. Okay, so that's also gonna add a lot of that flavor. So I have a head of garlic here. I'm just gonna do 2 or 3 cloves. This is how I like peel or do my ginger or my garlic. I just hit it and it kind of breaks apart. And I'm just gonna grab a couple of the cloves here and cut off the root end. That makes it easier for you to peel them. Okay, and then we're just gonna do another little smash. And the comes out pretty easy from its wrapper. Okay, so we got about 2.5 cloves that we're gonna put in there. That was the root.
More the better, I say.
The more the better. Garlic and ginger are fabulous flavor.
And good for you.
And super good for you. Really good antimicrobial properties in garlic. Ginger is one of those things that is super anti-inflammatory, extremely good for you, but sometimes you'll buy a thing of ginger, use a little bit, and the rest will go bad, right? So I always recommend that you keep your ginger in the freezer, okay? So like a ginger root whole like this, if you buy one of these, just keep it in the freezer, and every time you use it, just bring it out, grate a little bit, and put it back in the freezer. It'll stay really good rather than just keeping it fresh. So I usually just peel my ginger a little bit, cut off the end, and I use a microplane to grate some of it in there. Microplane looks like this. You could also just mince it, but these are kind of handy for like lemon zest, ginger, garlic, that type of thing where you want to get it really small and really incorporated. So then it ends up kind of like this, and that's really tasty and good and gets incorporated, so you don't get those really huge chunks of ginger because no one likes huge chunks of ginger biting into that. That will be very spicy. I'm gonna get the rest of that in there. Okay, you guys, this is just an Asian type of condiment called hoisin. Oops. We're doing about 2 tablespoons of that. You can find that again in like the Asian food aisle of any grocery store. Okay, usually grocery stores have like a Hispanic foods and an Asian foods aisle, and hoisin's pretty common, so you shouldn't have too bad of a time finding that one.
And very tasty.
And extremely tasty. Adds a lot of flavor. Okay, all of our sauce ingredients are in here. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir. Then we're gonna pop the lid on, and we're gonna go for 5 minutes to get that chicken cooked. Okay, and then we're gonna add a little bit of what's called a cornstarch slurry, and that's just going to help thicken up our sauce just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go poultry setting for 5 minutes. And then it's just gonna go. Okay, so what the Instant Pot has to do, it has to come to temp. Okay, so it has to get hot enough and it has to get pressurized enough, and then it'll start our 5 minutes. So it actually takes a little longer than 5 minutes usually. What you want to make sure if you do have an Instant Pot is to put it on sealing and not venting. I don't know if you guys have seen pressure cookers before, but once you're done, they like release all of their steam, and if it's on venting, it's going to release the steam the whole time. Woohoo! Yay, perfect timing. Okay, so pasta should be relatively done here.
So you say it should be on not be on venting?
It should be on sealing, and then when it's done cooking, we're gonna put it on venting so all the steam can release from the pressure.
Before you open it?
Before you open it, exactly.
Okay, I get it.
Yep. Yep, okay, so here's our pasta. We're gonna see if it's cooked. Who knows how to see if it's cooked? If you've been to my cooking class before, you know.
It's done.
It's done. Perfect. Okay, when you throw it on the wall and it sticks, it's done, all right? So that's perfect. Okay. Now, the benefit of having whole wheat pasta is because it's a lot higher in fiber. And so it can affect your blood glucose slower than just regular white pasta. So I always recommend people try and aim for whole grains 80% of the time, okay, if you can. So choosing the whole grain option. Now, keep in mind that whole wheat pasta still has the same amount of carbs as white pasta. So it's not licensed to just eat as much as you want. right? You still have to kind of have portion control, but when you pair it with a ton of vegetables, it makes that glycemic impact even less. And you'll see that we're using more vegetables than we are even using noodles. So we've got our noodles here. We're gonna go ahead and make our dressing. Okay, so I have the recipes for you guys over here. I'm gonna go ahead and follow my recipe for my dressing. I'm just gonna whip it up in my little liquid measuring cup right here. We're going to be using half a cup of olive oil. Okay, and now olive oil is not super typical in Asian recipes. Usually they use a lot of vegetable oil, but I don't really think vegetable oil is as healthy as olive oil. So for this recipe, I chose to use olive oil instead. Okay, it's really high in antioxidants and omega-3 fats, which you want to be getting a lot more omega-3 fats in your diet than maybe saturated fat or omega-6 fats. You want to be getting more omega-3s. We have an abundance of omega-6 in our diets already. We don't need really any more of that. Okay, a third a cup of low sodium soy sauce. So this is also gonna work as our seasoning as well for our dressing. So I just got a third of a cup. And then we've got, well, it calls for a fourth of a cup of oyster sauce, but I'm actually going to do 2 tablespoons oyster and 2 tablespoons of hoisin instead. Okay, a fourth a cup.
And the oyster sauce is really good too.
Yep, the oyster sauce is good. It's also quite salty, but it has a lot of that good Asian flavor that you're looking for in a dressing. So I'm just gonna use the rest of my bottle here. Okay, fourth a cup of that. This is gonna add flavor, but also a little bit of sweetness because there is some sugar in those sauces. Okay. The next ingredient we've got some ginger and some sesame oil. Okay, and just some people find it easy to peel your ginger with a spoon, actually. But I actually think that it's okay to get a little bit of peel in your stuff. It won't hurt you. And it doesn't really make a huge difference in flavor, but it's just a little bit grittier, which is why people usually take it off. Okay, so we're gonna grate a little bit more of that and get a little bit more garlic as well. And you guys will find, like, when you're cooking, it can be intimidating seeing a lot of ingredients, right? But once you start building up your pantry, it can be a lot easier to throw dishes like this together. Like all of this stuff you can see, like all of it is semi-gone, 2/3 gone. Like I didn't really have to go grocery shopping for any of these things because I just had my pantry stocked with them. So getting a well-stocked pantry is the first step to just eating a little bit better. Okay, and having those ingredients on hand, that way you're like, oh, I have all this stuff to make that Asian vinaigrette and make a, you know, a healthy noodle salad. And this is like barely even a recipe because you could use whatever vegetables you want, whatever noodles you want, whatever vegetables you want. It's really super, super versatile. Okay, in goes the ginger. And a little bit more garlic. How many of you use jarred garlic? 1, 2, 3.
Sometimes.
Okay. Okay, I say for the love of all things delicious, use fresh garlic. It's more work, I will give you that. Jarred is very convenient, but you lose so much flavor by using jarred instead of fresh. Like this. It's amazing, okay? Fresh and good, and you don't know how long that pre-minced stuff has been sitting around, right? So it's usually best to just kind of use that fresh stuff. Okay, press that in there. We're gonna do a pinch of red pepper flakes just for a little heat. You could also use jalapeno or sriracha or oh yes, well this is more of an Asian recipe and that's more of a Mexican ingredient. However, you could use it, that would be totally fine. Well, that's true, but jalapenos are still pretty Asian.
Are they really?
Well, and Mexican too. Okay, I like to rub the pepper flakes in between my fingers. That really brings out the natural oils and helps release some of that flavor into your vinaigrette. Okay? Just don't touch your eyes. It's true. With any pepper, really. Okay, just a little bit of those, a little bit of honey for sweetness. As you can see, we're using a lot of the same ingredients. So about 2 tablespoons of honey in our dressing. If I'm forgetting anything else. And did I already put rice vinegar in there? I don't think I did.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I put it in the chicken, but we're also putting it in our vinaigrette, so we have to have some sort of vinegar, right? That's going to provide that acidic element. So we're doing 1/4 cup of that as well. And you'll notice I just used the same measuring cup for everything because it's all mixed together anyways.
And you put some of that in there anyway.
Exactly.
That hoisin sauce.
Exactly. Okay, 1/4 cup of that. And then just for a little added flavor, we're using toasted sesame oil. Have any of you guys ever used or cooked with toasted sesame oil?
Yes.
Okay, it's really super flavorful. It adds a lot of depth of flavor. I always recommend getting toasted sesame oil, not just sesame oil. So this is a good source of omega-3s as well, okay?
Really?
Yeah, it is actually. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of that. Now the reason why I don't use primarily sesame oil, the reason why I use a combination of olive and sesame, is because if you used all sesame, it would be extremely pungent, extremely flavorful. And so it's good to kind of have that balance. And we got our garlic in there. Yep, I think that's everything. So we're just going to kind of mix that up. Now this is a great salad. You could totally make ahead like for meal prep. This is a really big recipe, so you could totally make this ahead of time. Meal prep it. The only thing I would add in at a later time would be the peanuts and the kale. Okay, because those are things that are going to get soggy or stale when they sit in liquid. Okay, so the kale will get soggy, the peanuts will get like, not crunchy. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna make sure to give that a taste before we add it in because you want to taste everything for seasoning. It's good. Okay, so we're just gonna toss that in.
And the noodles just soak it up.
Yep, and the noodles are still a little warm. They're just gonna totally soak in that really good flavor. Okay, we're gonna pour the rest over once we add all of our vegetables. Okay, this means that we just finished the chicken, finished cooking. Okay, so basically we're just gonna natural release that and let the steam kind of come out unnaturally, and then we're gonna quick release it and the steam's gonna go crazy. Okay. So we're just gonna continue on our salad. Basically now we're adding in all of our yummy vegetables, okay? So what I've got going on here is cucumber, and I cut up most of the cucumber, but I kind of just wanted to show you how I cut a cucumber. When I peel it, I peel like every other stripe, just because I like how that looks. You don't have to do that. You could keep peel on or peel the entire thing. It's up to you. And I just take out the insides. The reason I do that is because the insides are very full of moisture. And if you were, for example, doing this as a meal prep, that extra moisture in your salad is gonna make it like really heavy and waterlogged. So I just take out that pulpy part in the center and then just cut this into little half moons shapes. And that's what we're gonna be adding to our salad.
How wide do you go on that?
How wide? So they're about like that wide. Yeah.
About half inch?
Yeah. 1/4 inch. Okay. So adding that in. I have 2 whole cucumbers, 2 whole English cucumbers in here. Okay. I also have about 4 carrots and I just grated them. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I just used these carrots, didn't peel them, just grated them in, washed them really well. The peel has a lot of fiber, so I kept that on. And that's just gonna go in. I like the texture of a grated carrot. It's not really super hard and crunchy. It kind of blends well with the whole salad. So that's all going in. I'm gonna need a bigger bowl, huh? And then we've also got a bunch of mini bell peppers. So they just look like this. They're not spicy peppers, they're sweet peppers. Okay, so I'll show you how I slice them. I just slice them into little rings like this. And then when you get to the end where you get to the seeds, obviously you don't want a ton of seeds, a few are fine. But then I just cut around and have those parts be in chunks. Okay? So those are gonna go in. And
So the seeds are okay for you, huh?
yeah, totally. Like a little seed here or there. I mean, they're not necessarily super pleasant to eat, but they certainly won't kill you and they certainly won't be spicy. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm not gonna have enough space for all my vegetables. Okay, because I'm also adding this thing of broccoli slaw. Okay, but I kind of found this broccoli slaw and I am really lazy, and so I thought, well, this is perfect. It's already pre-grated and everything, and it was pretty cheap. It was on sale, and so I just got this kind of as a substitute for what was called for in my recipe. Okay, so
And it
let's
looks
see how we want to do this. We'll put some of that in there, and then we've also got some kale. And you could use spinach. I get baby kale, which is a lot tender of leaves than like your curly kale. I don't know if you guys have seen that curly kale. Yeah. It's really kind of hard to chew and it's better consumed cooked. Baby kale is okay to consume raw because it's a lot more tender. So I'm just gonna put some of those leaves in there. Well,
Be okay?
yeah, yeah. Spinach would be great. Cabbage, like we said. Okay, this is gonna be interesting, y'all. I'll go ahead and toss this, and oh yeah, and we also have a half a bunch of cilantro. We're just adding in. Okay, and then also some scallions. So you guys know what scallions are? Also called green onions. Okay, so. And then, okay, is anyone deathly allergic to peanuts? Okay, good. Okay, I'm also adding that crunchy element of peanuts to our salad. This is also, I recently traveled, well, not recently, a year ago, I went to Thailand, and like everything has peanuts on it. It's super yummy. So basically, I just got dry roasted peanuts. You'll see the container behind me right there, just dry roasted peanuts. And I just kind of chopped them up a little bit finer. And they're right there. Okay.
But
so,
you could use any kind of peanut.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it wouldn't have to be dry roasted.
Right. Could be like a raw peanut or whatever. Okay. Well, this is exciting. Okay, so basically a big toss. And we made a relatively large amount of dressing just because I knew this was going to be a large amount of salad, you know what I mean? So we want to get kind of evenly coated with all of that. I'm going to add our peanuts in. I'm also going to save a little bit of peanuts for our lettuce wraps, kind of as garnish. Okay, yum, you guys! And this is so easy. Again, so good for meal prep. This recipe I would eat just as is. Like, I think this could be like a full meal. And you guys know me, I'm all about my meatless meals, okay? Trying to go plant-based more often than not. So this is a really good way to do that, to get a lot of flavor, a lot of nutrients, and it's really filling and good for you. You'll probably be really satisfied just by eating something like this, okay? Okay, any questions?
Very well balanced.
Yeah, totally. You got protein, you've got vegetables, and I always tell people like half of what you're eating should be vegetables, like at least half, and this is definitely at least half. You can see the amount of vegetables to the ratio of noodles is probably 3/4 vegetables, 1/4 noodles, right? And that's kind of the way you want to do things. Okay, you want to make sure everything's nice and moistened, but if it's not, you can easily just mix up a little bit of more of dressing and toss it all together. Okay, Now we want to make that cornstarch slurry for our chicken over there. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of water. Okay, we're gonna kind of let this marinate and set and settle and all those flavors to come together. And like I said, this is like even better the next day, and you can eat it cold, warm, room temperature, doesn't matter. Okay, perfect. Boom.
Beautiful.
Okay, that is beautiful. I could just eat like that whole bowl. Okay, so next I have a little container here. I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons of water. And then about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And what cornstarch does is it just kind of helps thicken up our sauce a little bit so that we get that typical flavor. You don't necessarily have to use cornstarch if you are for some reason opposed. But a little cornstarch goes a long way as far as thickening properties. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a little bit in here. About 2 tablespoons, and then we just mix that up. And the reason why you mix it in water first is because it can get really super lumpy if you just add cornstarch straight into your mixture. So as you can see, it's kind of making like this milky looking water mixture, okay? And it seems really thin right now, but once it hits the hot, it's gonna be a great thickening agent. Okay, so that's called a slurry. Okay, now we're going to quick release on here. Now, be not afraid. Okay, that part always frightens me a little bit.
So is quick release the same thing as venting?
Right, right. So it was natural releasing after it was done for a while, but then to speed up the process, you quick release it, and that releases a lot more of the steam on there.
Also gotta be careful around that steam.
Right, right. So you don't want to get your face right up in there, unless you have a cold and want to loosen up your sinuses. No, I'm just kidding.
I made some salad the other night for tonight, that Thai cucumber salad. And I wanted to eat it that night.
Yeah.
But it's for a dinner with my son and his.
Oh, nice. Good. I love that Thai cucumber salad. So good. Okay, so when most of the steam has been released, we're gonna kind of just take off our lid here. Ooh. Smells good. Okay, so now we're just gonna add our slurry, and we still want it to be hot, so I'm just gonna put it right back on saute mode, just so that the sauce can thicken up a little bit. Cancel this, put it on saute. What saute does is just get it really hot. Now, if you were making this in a crock pot, what you would do, same thing I did. Chicken, all of the sauce ingredients, let it cook for 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever, okay? And then after you were done, take the lid off, make your cornstarch slurry, add it into your sauce, and then turn your crock pot to high so that you can still do that kind of what we're doing here, the thickening. And then basically serve it the same way. It's gonna take you 6 hours instead of 10 minutes, but hey, crock pot recipes are great, right? So if you don't have an Instant Pot, that can be a really good solution. Okay, so we're going to let that cook and thicken just a little bit. And I'm actually serving these in lettuce wraps, which I think is a really great way. If you guys are trying to eat a little bit healthier during the new year, or perhaps you're trying to eat a little bit less carbohydrate, a little bit less refined grains, a little bit lower calorie in order to lose weight, any of these things, this can be a really great option instead of having it like in a burrito or in with white rice or something like that. So my favorite type of lettuce to use for lettuce wraps is called butter lettuce. You guys heard of butter lettuce? Okay, looks like this. I have these right here. So I like that the leaves kind of make perfect little cups like this, and you just put your filling in. I like to top it with a little crushed peanuts, a little bit of sesame seeds. Where'd my sesame seeds go? I brought them. And then just eat it like that. Maybe a little sriracha on top if you like things spicy, but it's a really, really yummy way. So if you haven't seen butter lettuce in your grocery stores before, it looks like this. I saved these so I could show you. So I like to get the living butter lettuce. So it actually comes as a head of lettuce with the root still on, okay? Looks like this. So So it has a little root and it has like the whole head of lettuce. The reason for that is because butter lettuce can go bad really fast. Okay, so if it's just shredded off of its root, it's probably not gonna last very long. It lasts longer like this. And throughout the week, you could just pick off a leaf here and there to have for your lettuce wraps, and it lasts, okay? So basically I just took all of that off, washed the leaves, and we're going to use those for our little cups. Okay, some of them have holes, but that's okay. You basically just create your little sandwich or whatever, and have it in there. Okay, so we wanted it to kind of boil. You kind of hear it simmering right now, and it's thickening up pretty nicely. So I'll show you guys. Okay, this is what it looks like right now. Okay, so it's getting like a lot thicker, and that chicken is coated in the sauce. Okay, so that's kind of the texture we're going for. Yeah. A little lettuce. Put a little, I think we're good now. Put a little chicken in it. Put a little sesame seeds on. A little crushed peanuts. And just eat it like that. Ta-da. Okay, and then eat this paired with some Asian noodle salad. Sounds like a pretty good lunch or dinner that you could have all week long. I'll eat this.
A good cook.
So good.
Always tastes.
Wish I had